Welcome back to the Dear Andy podcast. I am your host, Abby, coming to you live straight from my dining room table again in the heart of Los Angeles. Today is all about reporting or not reporting. This is episode 5, I believe. And I just want to put a trigger warning for anybody who is out there listening. Welcome back to the Dear Andy podcast. This is episode 5. Today we're going to be talking about reporting versus not reporting. So, this is the question that I think all survivors kind of consider at some point throughout their journey. Whether it was immediate, whether it took years, whether it took 10 years, whether it took X amount of time. I believe all survivors think about the reporting process. Now, to the extent of it is dependent on person to person. And today I do not offer or push to tell people to, report. You gotta report. Like, reporting is the only way you're gonna get justice. The reporting is the only way you'll ever move on with your life. That is not why I'm here today. Today, I want to talk about the pros and cons between reporting and not reporting. I happen to be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very grateful, and I'm a very privileged position. By when I say that my university is very supportive and they have a very, very strong Title IX office that handles these sort of situations at various levels of severity. And I have been on the reporting and witness side of these cases. So I have seen people who have straight up just did not even acknowledge that whatever happened to them had happened, and they keep to themselves because they think that reporting or telling anyone about what happened to them will bring more shame and bring more pain than, like, their silence is gonna bring them more happiness and will fill them, or at least make them feel better than having to undergo the reporting process or tell anybody about what had happened to them. I know that some people don't want to have to deal with people victim blaming them or saying, well, what did you do? Like, it's always your fault. And that's such a shitty situation to be in. And I am grateful that I have a very supportive family that, even though I was always taught, like, oh, like, look at what you're wearing. Like, you're going to bring the wrong attention, or look at what you're wearing. You're asking for it. And I have pretty old school / old parents who have this mindset, and I don't blame them because they were growing up in a time where that was okay. That was the norm. That was the norm to blame women for what they were wearing, and that was the reason why they were attacked. So, I've also had friends who have reported and who have gone through Title IX and through the reporting process with police officials. So they went through not only a university reporting process, but they went through the legal, well, not even legal, the legal governmental police option. I don't even know how to word this. I've had friends who decided that reporting, to whatever capacity, would make them feel better. I've had friends who their abusers are family, and that's, I think, one of the worst parts, is that is a very hard line, and I can't speak for them. And whatever they feel is best for them, whether it's reporting or not reporting, is all up to them. And so the purpose of this podcast today is to not talk about whether you should or should not, because I've always teetered on this debate whether to or to not. And I didn't undergo the reporting process until after I had left. Until after I had graduated, I think I was just going to be fine with never having to undergo any sort of process, like documentation process of what had happened to me, and finding some sort of retribution or finding some sort of justice, whether it's through legal means or whether it's through the university. I attended a university where they were willing to dish out expulsions, and they did not look back. The expulsion process is that if you were to have been found guilty of sexual misconduct, the most that they can do is expel you, and you'll never be able to apply to another CSU for the rest of your life, pretty much. So you get blackballed by every single CSU. And so that's the highest capacity that they can do, which I think is amazing, because at least their process is that they, or at least through Title IX, they are able to account for both sides, talk to witnesses, talk to whoever they can, become fact finders of what had happened or what had transpired that night or day or whatever it may be. And then I don't know who deliberates, but the university officials, so I believe like the Title IX coordinator and other university officials determine whether or not it would be deemed as sexual misconduct. And from there they deliberate and then they present the answer. And so I'm in this state where I fear, like I will shake, and it brings me so much anxiety to think about being on the stand and giving a testimony or answering questions by both sides of the aisle. Like I cannot, like that puts so much darkness in my brain and heaviness in my heart, and I just cannot fathom such an idea of being up there. So I decided to go through the university route or through Title IX, and it's still ongoing, so I can't really talk about a whole lot about it, but it took me a while to get to this point. It took me a while to feel some type of way or have enough courage to come to this stage where reporting was a necessity. And it wasn't until like life really happened and seeing my abuser outside really, really bothered me. Because I literally expedited my college career just to get out and never have to deal with them ever again. Because I know the longer I stayed, the longer it was going to give me anxiety, the longer I was going to have to fear every day walking on campus, every day just keeping my eyes peeled, staying focused, going to and from class, and that's all I did. And if I had to come out, it would just be to work and then to back home. It would be so hard to be on campus many days. I would just put on a front because I was just bracing myself to see him. And there'd be places like the gym or the library where I was like, yeah, I can't come to these public spaces anymore because I know for a fact every time I'm there, he will show up. And it sucks that I couldn't live a healthy or normal life. Like I had to adjust my entire life because of the fears and the anxiety that I was living. So I literally expedited my college career, and I didn't want to report. I was just like, well, I'm fine. I'll do it eventually. And when eventually came around, I didn't do it. And I knew in my heart that if I was going to undergo the reporting process during my college career, it was going to be over. I was going to have to take a year off. I said this in a previous episode, that it was just going to throw me off my studies. And in the current mental state that I'm in, definitely, without a doubt, 100% would need an extra year to complete school. And that sucks. And that sucks that that is the reality of it. And that sucks that that's what I had to consider, whether or not seeking justice, whether it's having him expelled or the internal fears and the anxieties and the struggles that I had to deal with. I had to weigh out both options. I was like, well, it could go, like, what are the lesser of two evils am I going to pick for myself, pretty much? And that sucks. That sucks that these were the cards I was dealt. And I am proud of my position, but I'm also just even more messed up than I thought I would be, but that could be different for other people. So, to report or not to report is really dependent on what a person believes they want to do and what they believe is the best option for them. Because sometimes their best option is not easy. And I am so blessed to have a support system who has been there to literally catch me as I've fallen multiple times, time and time again. They have been there to catch me. And not everyone is as blessed as I am. Not everyone is as privileged as I am to have the connections and to have the people and to have the resources and to have this knowledge, because I was a part of Project 8, which is a peer education program at my university where we would literally go into classrooms. We would ask professors and give an entire presentation about what Project 8 does, what's consent, what are the terms of sexual violence, like what are the legal laws, and blah, blah, blah. Like, we would cover a spectrum of topics, but mainly we would talk about consent and what is sexual violence or what is sexual assault, what does that mean, the statistics of who these people are, who are the ones being abused, and what survivors go through, which is like drug abuse or alcohol abuse or substance abuse or PTSD or whatever it may be. Like the likeliness of survivors to have XYZ things. We talk about the entire spectrum, and we also have resources, and we're also very closely connected to the Title IX program. We always encourage people to, we always encourage that if you would like to speak to somebody or if you'd like somebody to come with you to Title IX, we are willing to come with you. We can walk you to the office. We can prep you on, well, we can't prep you, but it was hard, because sometimes some days it would be really good and then some days it would be really jarring. And it's not easy, especially I think if you were abused, whether it was prior to college or prior to that presentation. Like, it just happened. Like, anything can happen in these presentations. And I had never pushed people to report or not to report, because that's not an easy decision to make on anybody. Reporting can be easier to some people who have a support system like I do, and it could be harder for others who don't have a support system or who have people in their lives who are victim blamers and they don't care about what other people feel or think, or aren't compassionate to what people are feeling or thinking or going through. I am very blessed, and I'm never going to tell anybody to report or not to report, because all anybody can do is offer that support and that care, and that genuine care that, look, I'm here for you. I want to listen to you. I want to know if you're okay. I want to know what you're going through. You just express that concern, like, are you okay? Do you need somebody? And I think that that's the most important or crucial thing if you're a friend of a survivor, is to just let them know that they are safe and that they are okay and that they are supported no matter what decision they make. I've had people who are no longer in my life, but they have still supported me throughout any sort of process, whether it's compartmentalizing my feelings or going out there and going to Title IX and walking me and being in the room with me as I'm reporting. It is not an easy process. It is not an easy journey for anyone to go through. And people's situations are not one and the same. So reporting versus not reporting, I think, is a crucial topic to talk about, but it has so many factors. To report or not to report has many different factors because not everyone has the same and supportive Title IX program that my university has versus another. Or some other schools, like let's say you were abused by an athlete, they will just do whatever it takes to brush it under the rug, and your entire story, your entire case gets washed away. And that sucks. And sometimes reporting hurts more than not reporting. Like, who would ever thought that this would be the result? And I have that lingering animosity for myself. So I can't fully say, did I make the right decision for myself? Would this have brought me more pain? Did this do anything? Did this bring any justice that I felt that needed to happen? That answer I can't give. And it's unfortunate that this is the life and the world we live in. But there are always people out there who care about you and that want to help you. And I think the number one piece of advice I would give is to just do whatever you think will maintain your sanity, because the reporting process is not easy. It is not easy on your mental health. It's not easy on your physical health. It's not easy at all. And there are many different repercussions a person can face, whether it might be being publicly vilified by other people for saying something, or, oh my goodness, I would never expect him to do that. It sucks. But whether a person reports or not, or decides not to report, is all up to them. And I think doing what is going to make you in the end happy, I think, is the most important thing. Whether you get the justice that you deserve, whether you go through it or you don't. Or if you decide to just not do it at all. You're doing what makes you happy, I think, or what is going to make you feel the safest and feel the happiest and will bring you more peace, I think, is the number one thing a person should factor. Thank you for listening. I know this was a pretty hard episode to listen to, but thanks for listening. This episode was all about to report or not to report. Bye.